shot.
Hey guys, Mr.BeetleBum here, and today I wanted to make a little bit of a different video, quite honestly, something I haven't done yet. A lot of people are asking me, now that I've been doing this for over a year now, making videos, streaming, doing whatever I can simply to help new players, or you know what, just players in general, new players that have played a long time that are stuck on certain mechanics. I'm simply trying to reach out to the community and help in any way I can. Try to help guys figure out the game faster so that they'll stick around, because I firmly believe once you understand the game, you're going to enjoy the game. It's a great game. It's absolutely gorgeous to look at. It's fun to play, and everything about it I'm digging. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a fanboy of wargaming, but at the same time, I respect, when respect is due. And I think there's a lot of things that wargaming have done great. I also think there's a lot of things that wargaming has done bad. But I'm not here to basically trash wargaming. It's unnecessary, and it's not going to do anything anyways. So before you freak out and think, oh, this guy's making a video just to trash wargaming, that's not it at all. Don't turn it off, because that's not what's happening. I'm going to basically just talk about things that I think are an issue in the game. But I don't just whine about something. I actually talk about what I think is wrong, and then I discuss, how I think things could be improved. And I even give suggestions. I mean, I'm 52 going on 53, and I'm a guy, throughout my life has started businesses and sold them for profit and managed multi-million-dollar businesses and stuff. I'm not just a guy who's, how can I put this? I got some ideas that I'll throw your way, and, maybe they're good, maybe they're crap. What can I say? I know that some of the stuff I think of, makes common sense. Anyways, enough with, patting myself on the back and whatnot. Let's get to it. Today's edition is just going to cover one subject. It's probably the number one subject closest to my heart about this game. And that is the fact that I think right now, and for quite a while now, the game has basically wrecked it for lights. I'm a huge avid light tank player. I love playing them. There's something about being able to rush out and spot the enemy for your team, and just stay passive and see if you can, how close the enemy can get to you without firing on them and stuff, and just decimate the other team with you doing the spotting for the team behind you. The problem is nowadays is that you don't really see that often. Almost always, like, it's getting to the point where it's pathetic. Almost always now, when there's lights in the team, especially from like tier 6 and up, almost always these guys are sitting in the back sniping and stat padding. People say, well, what do you mean stat padding? Why would a light stat pad? And just quickly, and I mean really quickly, let me explain for any of you who don't understand about the low expected value. All tanks are given an expected value for win 8, meaning how much damage that they're expected to do. Tanks that are, heavier, well armored, that are supposed to last longer, that do have great alpha damage and whatnot, those are going to have a higher expected value. Anyways, the lowest expected value tanks out there, meaning the ones that you have to do the least amount of damage in order to get great Unicum numbers, are light tanks. So it's super easy if a person wants to pad their stats a bit, is just to sit there and play light tanks a lot and just snipe with them. Instead of going out and spotting, just snipe. Now, I know a lot of you guys that are going to watch this, I'm not expecting I was supposed to say I'm not expecting the majority of people to agree with me. In all honesty, I'm not even expecting the minority of the people to agree with me, because I like I said, I'm 52 years old and I can deal with reality. And the reality is that most players like the idea of being able to use light tanks and get their win rates up, and don't see it as an issue because they like to use it. The thing is, though, is it's selfish and it's not taking into consideration what's best for the team. A light tank that sits in the back and snipes the whole game is basically a player that's just saying to the team, you're there for a reason. You've been given passive concealment for a reason so that you can go out and spot for your team. But these guys instead use it to their advantage so that they can snipe and then rush away and still have concealment as they're driving away and whatnot. And guys, for you that are watching this, that might think, oh, I think Mr. BeetleBum's kind of overblowing this, and I don't think as many people do this as he thinks. Well, I would challenge you just to go watch some streamers. It's that simple. I mean, there's streamers out there who play predominantly light tanks and sit there and make every kind of excuse under the sun about why they're not going to go scout. And instead, they just sit there and snipe the whole game. And yet, they're huge. They're huge. I'm not going to name names, but they're huge, man. They got huge followings, and everyone eats it up. Why? Because people want to see somebody who's, well known and famous, if you want to call it that, do the same thing they do. In other words, there's a crap load of people out there doing this, padding their stats by playing a lot of light tanks and just sitting in the back and doing fuck all for the team and just, doing it for themselves. And then what do you think those people are going to do when they see a streamer sit there and make fun of regular players and, and just sit there and do the same thing? Well, of course, they're going to be like, yeah, that's the right thing. He's smart. He's a smart player. Yet, you can see here in this game here, smart players can still sit there and scout at the beginning of a game and, be passive, help the team out, and still get excellent win rate numbers by the end of it. I absolutely love streaming, and I love playing my lights, and I love going out there and showing people how you can easily scout against wheelies, against anything. I've heard every excuse in the book, and it's all a joke. If you can't kill a wheelie, then you lack the ability to think and figure out formulate a plan, or you're just making it an excuse for why you want to sit in the back. I mean, come on, man. If there's a wheelie on your team, everyone knows that wheelies tend to go to the middle and just do this and then fucking die. How about you, instead of rushing out to the middle, like you say you can't do, how about you just go to the quarter mark of a map instead and grab a bush and spot and keep those wheelies that are running around zigzagging all over the place, just keep them lit the whole time because you have better view range than them. So instead of, worrying about it and just saying, no, man, I'm going to sit here in the back and I'm just going to pad my stats, think a bit, man. Formulate a plan, formulate a strategy, and then move forward. The other thing is, guys, like I said, my gripe here is the fact that lights are now basically being reduced to stat padding tanks, just sit in the back and do nothing with it. And, like I said at the beginning, I don't want to just come off like I'm just bitching at people. One way that this could easily be fixed, for starters, is just take XVM out of the equation, wargaming. Make it yourself. Make it something that you can just tick on the settings and say yes or no whether or not you want to use it. And for crying out loud, whoever it is, whether it be XVM who's running it or if wargaming puts it into their system, add assisted damage to Win 8. It is bullshit that it's not in it anyways. You put assisted damage in Win 8 and you're going to have everybody playing their light tanks properly. They're all going to be rushing out, grabbing a bush, sitting there spotting for the team, making huge Win 8 numbers. So they'll still be able to use their lights to get a great Win 8, but at least they'll be doing it the right way. At least they'll be spotting for the team and scouting for the team rather than sitting in the back and doing nothing for the team other than just padding their stats. So that's really about it for today. I really don't like being in a negative tone, but this is very frustrating, not just to me, to a lot of good players. And especially for myself, the main reason why it's so frustrating is because I'm trying to help teach new players how to play properly. And it seems like everywhere I turn, all we got is people that are just, you know, not doing it properly. You know, they go to Twitch and they watch streamers, and the most popular streamers sit there and snipe in their lights and make excuses and call everybody else names and make fun of them. So I mean, what's the average person going to think when they see the big time guy who's doing it, and then the small time guy like me, you know, who's got like all of 20 viewers, you know, crying out loud. You can put a girl on who doesn't even play the game in World of Tanks on Twitch, doesn't even play the game, maybe 5 minutes, and just talks the whole time, and they'll have more viewers than me. So I know what I am. I am a very, 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 very small fish. I've been doing this for over a year, trying to help players, and wargaming still doesn't even. I'm not even on their radar, man. So you know, is it an uphill battle? Yeah, big time. Is it a waste of time? Probably, but you know, I'm trying. I'm going to still be persistent and try because, you know, I've been a gamer my whole life, and I've always been pretty damn good at it, man. Uh, you know, from like being a high warlord in World of Warcraft, I don't want to get into stuff, but like, you know, I've always been, you know, trying to do world first and stuff like that. That's been my thing. And then I come to World of Tanks, and for the first few years, it was great. But like I said, in the last 2 or 3 years, especially the last 2 years, especially since they brought out wheelies, then it really became like a joke. But now it's just gone to the point where it's like very rarely do you actually see a light that goes out and scouts for the team. I mean, you're actually shocked when it happens. It's like, oh my God, there's a good player. And here's the thing. You know, have some pride in your skill. That's the biggest joke. I love these kids who sit there and just yap about how great they are, and then you look at their stats, and you look on their service record, and they predominantly play lights. They predominantly play low tier tanks, or like 279Es and shit, and tons of lights. And the funny thing is they're sitting there going off and acting like they're really good. And the reality of it is dude, if you're predominantly playing light tanks and sniping for high win 8, you got nothing to talk about. Yes, you've got a great win 8 number. Congratulations, but you're not even doing, you're taking the easy way out. The hard way, the challenging way, the way that takes skill and lots of skill, that's the guy who actually goes out and gets win 8s. Like in this match here, sorry, what did we get here for damage? We're looking at a win 8 of 15,000. All right, plus, I mean, yeah, it was a carry, but the reality is, you know, you go out and you spot for your team and you do what you can. At first, this game itself was a bit of a clusterfuck where, you know, you go and you spot, but like no one's shooting at anything. But so then you just have to take it in your own hands. But anyways, that's besides the point. The reality is, if you want to talk skill, then don't be talking if you're one of these guys who just sits in the back in your light and stat pads instead of going out and scouting, because you're not doing anything special. You're taking the easy way out. You're doing the least amount of anything for the team, and it doesn't take any skill to do what you do. You're using the game to make it the easiest for you to get your good numbers. You have the passive concealment, even though you're not out there zipping around getting any spots for your team. You're simply using it to your advantage so that you're harder to see when you snipe. So congratulations, that was brilliant, and you did such an awesome job doing that, and you've really got massive skills. Anyways, that's my beef with the game right now. Like I said, I'm just putting it out there. I'm not expecting anyone to sit there and go, yeah, Mr. BeetleBum, woohoo. I'm actually fully expecting everybody to tell me exactly how wrong I am and how brilliant they are. And, you know, there's going to be a million reasons why. And I understand that. I understand that, you know, the bulk of the people are going to be trolling this and saying it's wrong. Why? Because like I said before, the bulk of the people are lazy and they don't want to actually put in the effort to be a good player. There are guys, I'm not against people with good win 8 numbers, not at all. I respect them because most of the guys out there with really good win rate numbers are really good players. And those guys actually do know how to scout. And they're not chicken shits and sit there and say, oh, but there's a wheelie on the other team. Like, try using the brain for a little bit. Try getting a strategy and figuring out how you can beat something. That's the whole idea of gaming, is having something, not be easy and figure out how to defeat it. Other games out there than PvP. This is a PvP game, guys. And other PvP games that are on large scales, it's not always fair. There's always some class or whatever that seems to be OP to the others. But guess what? They're not always the ones who win either. Why? Because a good gamer actually figures out a strategy and how to deal with anything that comes up against them, and still ends up being victorious over it. Instead, all we're seeing is a bunch of players jumping into light tanks because they're low expected value, and sitting there playing them and playing them and playing them and playing them, and sitting in the back and going like this to their team, not helping them, and then sitting there and yapping about how great they are. So, on behalf of everyone in the game that is against that, congratulations. You're just so awesome. And for all of those out there who agree with me, well, thank you very much. Maybe one day something will happen and something will change. Maybe one day Wargaming will figure out that XVM can just be part of their system, because XVM, guys, is a joke. It's nowhere near the best tool to use to measure a person's skill, because all they're looking at is damage. I mean, forget map strategy, forget teamwork. There's so much that goes into a real great player. And that's why most stat patters don't ever make it to Unicum colors, because they end up playing, once they play their normal tanks, they start going down. But anyways, this has gone on long enough of a video. I'm not even sure how long it's been. But anyways, that's my rant, my bitch, my complaint, my whatever you want to call it. In all honesty, it's me just putting it out there. I want it to be known that I'm not the only one who sits there and understands what you guys are doing. And when you keep yapping at everybody in the game, guys, most of the people out there now know why, because there's people like me that constantly are talking about how easy it is and showing people how easy it is just to sit there and get their numbers up. And guys, I highly recommend you start looking at people's service records. It's quite funny, actually. You can go to service records, and then not just to see their win rate, not just to see how many games they've done. Try hitting on their tanks, on the actual tanks they use, and it shows you by the most games. And it's quite funny how many players out there seem to have an affinity for playing light tanks and medium tanks the most. And and then they sit there and bitch at people that are green, who play heavies, TDs, lights, all of it at a good mix, nothing out of the ordinary, or maybe an arty or TD as the majority, not that are not low expected value tanks. Anyways, guys, till the next time, I will be bringing out more. There's plenty of subjects I could talk about. This is just my main key one. And the reason why I'm putting this out is because I truly hope that more people will stop doing the stat padding in light tanks. And hopefully a lot of them are just doing it because they see other people doing it, or they hear people and watch streamers doing it. Hopefully this might wake them up to realize maybe they don't even know about low expected value. Maybe they don't realize how much they're hurting their team, because you're seriously handicapping your team, guys. If you don't play your class properly, especially in a light, which is the most important class, you are definitely handicapping your team, and you're making it ridiculously hard for your team to win when you won't spot and the other team has a scout that's actually spotting you guys. So hopefully there might be some change. If we can just change a few people out there, I'm happy. I really am, man, because it's so frustrating, and I hear people being frustrated about it constantly, and hopefully we can make a little change. All right, guys, if you like the video, thumbs up. If you hate it, thumbs down. It's a free world, man. You can say what you want, and I'm cool with that. If you guys do want to know when I bring up more videos, by all means, subscribe, set up the notifications, and then every time I bring out a video, you'll know about it. back to making some more World of Tank map strategy videos, and we'll get some more out as soon as we can. Till the next time, guys, it's Mr. BeetleBum, and I'm